Hey, 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 happy day. Happy 4th of July here in the United States. Of course, it's our favorite day of the year as a country. We all get to celebrate our birthday together, which everybody loves a birthday party for the most part, but isn't it fun when we can all celebrate together and we get to blow stuff up? I am from a fireworks family. We sold fireworks. I haven't done it for the last, I don't know, quite a few years, but for about 20 years, 25 years, our family sold fireworks to raise money to put our kids through college. And so every summer we would come together as a family, no matter what we were doing. All of the sisters, we were all sisters, and our husbands and our kids and our friends and we would sell fireworks in a small town that I live in. It was very, very fun, and we got very good at blowing up amazing things. And my kids both can do incredible firework displays. I don't like blowing stuff up so much or lighting it so much because my eyes aren't very good, as I do like seeing how beautiful they are. I love some of the beautiful, unpredictable things that come in the form of fireworks. That's not what I'm here to talk about today. Here today, I want to talk to you about mad as a wet hen. Now, have you ever been mad as a wet hen? Now, the funny thing about this expression, it's a 19th century expression that came about as a mistake or a misunderstanding, because the truth is, in the barnyard, hens don't care if they're wet or not. They don't mind if they get rained on. They're like a lot of birds, most birds, where the water just kind of rolls right off their back. But if you think about angry people, isn't that how a lot of them are? They go through like a little hurricane or a tornado. I'm thinking of Grant Cardone because I was hearing him talk about how he's a hurricane the other day with my son. We were listening to him in the car, and there's people that go through life and they're a hurricane and they upset everything in their path, everybody that they come in contact with, but doesn't seem to faze them at all, right? It only ruffles the feathers of the rest of us that they roll by with their windy behavior. So maybe the expression is true in that people that are upsetting to other people don't even really know or care about being upsetting, just like a hen doesn't really even know or care about being rained on, right? So, mad as a wet hen, of course, it means to be very upset, to be looking for a fight, to be super angry about something. And how does that fit into growing our businesses? When is it appropriate and when is it inappropriate to behave in a very upset or angry way? Now, you might think, well, anger is never appropriate. I should never be angry or upset in my organization or in my business at all. And I am going to say that's complete and utter nonsense. That's like believing that the customer is the customer is always right. Guess what? Customers are not always right. Customers are human beings, just like you and I are never always right. We're human beings too. We're not always right. We like to think we're always right. I just was watching last night with my daughter online a makeup line that had come out where they had massive problems with the quality of that product. And instead of the CEO going online, and I don't even remember her name, but it was so ridiculous, her behavior. Instead of her saying, oh my God, this is terrible, we will recall and refund all your money, we'll take care of this, we'll fix it and make it right, she came online repeatedly and blamed everybody and everything else under the sun and was all indignant with the people that weren't supporting her and the people that were complaining, or they weren't even complaining, they were stating facts about the product and how bad it was. It had animal hair in it, it had inconsistencies, it had metal shards in it, it was a lip product, crazy stuff. And instead of saying, oh my God, this is horrible too, and being indignant and angry and upset themselves with what it had happened and finding the root cause of it and fixing it and preventing it and making sure it would never happen again, she was on there just blasting everybody else on the planet, blaming her mental state and saying that it was all lies, and it was just really amazing that someone could be so upset in the wrong direction. It just showed me a level of maturity that didn't belong running any sort of company, at least not yet. So it was interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it pans out. She actually deleted all of her social media accounts and just went radio silent, which to me is the kiss of death of any business or business person. And she was an influencer. So if you're trying to be an influencer and a leader, you behave and act as a leader should. So in that situation, would you be upset, angry, and indignant? No, you'd be indignant about, oh my God, I'm so sorry this happened to you. Let's make this right. So sometimes it's okay. Sometimes it's appropriate to be upset and angry and indignant about things. I think injustices, people being treated in a way that isn't appropriate, any sort of abuse or bullying, To me, I'm all over getting angry and upset about that. And I will get angry, upset, and indignant, and then I'll find a way to solve the problem. And I probably am not going to blast off and go off crazy and half-cocked in front of other people. And I'm certainly not going to blame other people or other things or other situations or circumstances or whatever else for why the way something is. I'm just going to say, okay, this sucks. Let's go about fixing it. But I think that there are times when, yes, you should be angry and indignant. I think there's times when you tell people no. I mean, I've had customers, I remember I spent over a quarter century in some of the biggest corporations in the world dealing with customer complaints and customer handling. And I am the first to admit, there are things that can actually happen in your organization and in your business that you would not even have dreamt possible. I'm going to give you a quick example. When I worked for a big industrial bakery, we had a customer call in horrified that it was their daughter's graduation party, and when they cut into the cake, there were flies flying out of it and larvae. Now, of course, your first thought is, well, that's not possible. That couldn't have happened. That's ridiculous. They're making this up. But I didn't think that way. I was sorry. I apologized to her. I said, let me investigate this and see how this might have happened. Because, you know, and of course, I made it right, gave her money back. Couldn't fix her daughter's party, but we did do a bunch of things to try to make up for it, because that is a horrible thing to have happen. And I just assumed that, yeah, somehow this is possible. So I actually went through our process, because that was my job, or I made it my job, and I looked at every step along the way of where might this theoretically, could this possibly have happened. And what we did is when we made the cakes, we baked the cakes, we put them in open racks by the warehouse, because where we baked the cakes was right next to the warehouse. And theoretically, a fly could have flown, landed on that cake, laid its eggs, then the cakes went into the freezer, they were brought out, thawed, and frosted and decorated, and then delivered to the customers. So theoretically, it was entirely possible that that could have happened. So we changed our processes and procedures to make sure that that could never happen again, right? That something like that could never happen again. But it was an unfathomable, it's like unbelievable that something like that could happen. Yet, when we took the time to investigate, look for the root cause, it did indeed happen, right? So in that instance, the customer was right. But all too often, business owners jump to the conclusion that the customers are just being whiny or complaining, or for whatever reason, they don't believe them. And I'm going to say, I've been in situations where the customers weren't right and where they were just trying to scam the business I owned or the business that I worked for. It happens all the time. But you can't let your cynical hat outweigh your do what's right for people hat, and know that most people really are good. Yeah, there's that teeny percentage of people that will try to rip you off, but you can't behave as if everybody's going to rip you off. It's like the teacher that makes rules, or the boss or the business owner that makes rules for everybody because one person has a performance problem. Okay, one person can't get to work on time, everybody else is awesome, but because that one person's late, instead of talking to that one person and not disciplining them, but explaining to them that the behavior is unacceptable and this is why it's hurting everybody else, or why it's not okay, they make rules and guidelines and systems for everybody that actually hurt morale and make the situation worse. So choose wisely when you're going to get upset, what you're going to fight for, what's really important. Choose your battles. We have to choose our battles, right? I tell my kids that all the time. I mean, you can't make everything a big dramatic fight. You have to just pick the things that really matter and that are important and that are moving you toward the goal of what you're trying to achieve with your business. That's it. Go out, make it an awesome, happy 4th of July. I'm going to go blow some stuff up and have some fun today. I hope you do the same. I'll, of course, see you tomorrow with another interesting perspective on ways of looking at people and their behavior, because people are what help us to grow and supersize our business, right? Take care. See you tomorrow. Bye. Or I'll be with you tomorrow.